So Chris comes over. He's like, dude, the cops are here. They're shutting down a booth for having AI. And I was like, what? The girl who applied showed up on day one, set up the booth, and vanished. And her boyfriend ran the booth. Mm-hmm. She calls Jamie and she goes, I need your help. There are people at my booth right now threatening my boyfriend's life, and I need the police there to protect him. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Welcome to the Inkpulp podcast.
Yo.
Me and Eric are discussing things we could discuss that would just destroy the show once and for all,
or skyrocket it. You know, have you ever seen those? Have you ever seen those shows where they're like so milquetoast and just don't talk about anything, and the next thing you know, they talk about like the latest thing that's on in the top of people's minds, and their readership or their viewership, just their subscribers just shoot through the roof, and they never talk about it again. You know, or they just continue to chase their own fucking tail about it, and you're like, that's not freaking sustainable, man. You know. No. I say we try it for like a week. Let's just talk about the most.
You're just trying to get out of having to do this again. That's what you're doing.
But not through my own choosing. You know, like, oh, we can't do the show anymore. We've been collectively canceled. You know, let me make a couple more, spicy Mexican jokes, and then I'm out. Okay, the last week. Can I talk about this? Last week.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, to give it context, the past couple times that we've I've been managing to crawl back out of the well of infinite death more than I am now. The infinite darkness in my chest. I've been watching the episodes of the ones that have been released, recent stuff, right?
Yeah.
And, I was like, geez, Louise, my footage is so damn grainy. And I said this last week, to Jamie's credit, Jamie was just kind of like, shook his head like this. And then I was like, well, they're paying me. I got to make this thing look as good as possible. And I guess he couldn't press the make Eric's footage look good enough button enough. Or he did. And it just every other press thereafter cost us like $29.99, which would put us in the hole or whatever. Anyway, I saw the footage and I hated it. And so I came to you and I was like, Shawn, why haven't you guys been telling me? And you're like, I don't know. It's just your personality now. It's just you're the Dark Lord and then blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but I'm a Dark Lord that cares about the aesthetics of, if not the show, at least me,
I want to be the crispest of Dark Lords.
Oh, yeah. I want my darkness and my whatever to be high fidelity, You can feel it. So I went and got the same lens as you. Feels really, really good. I plugged it in last week and it just caused havoc. And that was technically my first week back. Well, on the calendar, It was my first week back, but I'd already been crawling back into the show. And, it was just awful. And I'm curious to see how Jamie edits that show because it was so freaking disruptive. So if people pick up on it, that's nobody else's fault except for mine because I don't know which button to press or this thing is acting up. Now, here's the thing. If it acts up again, I'm going to take it as a sign that it's like, this is not a good time to come back. Like Shawn's going to have to sit here.
You know what? It's funny.
With a local Subway sandwich artist and do these episodes.
This lens should, like Jamie's told me a bunch of times, I should look much better with this lens than I'm looking. I just haven't had time to get with him and get to the bottom of it. But
that's the thing about Jamie. We had him on and he's so hands off. Here's the other thing. Again, you'll see this in the next episode. Matteo made a good point about it. We bring Jamie on so I can ask him questions. I ask him a question, but I'm never going to let him answer it, And the thing is, Jamie's not the kind of guy that'll be like, actually, you asked me a question. Can I answer that question?
Right. No. He's too nice.
He's too nice. All right. How are we doing? This has to be episode 200 something by now, right?
260.
No way.
Yeah.
You've managed to do this 260 times.
That's just in this iteration since you and I started doing this post-COVID.
Oh, man. That's pretty dang cool. But also, what are we doing with our time? Are we there? Are we at this like the twilight of our career? Are we at the sundown of our career? Are we sundowning?
Dude, I feel like I'm at the sunrise of my career, but I'm at the
Are you?
sundown of my life. So it's kind of odd crossroads.
Where am I right now? Let me try to think about it. That's a good way of putting it. Sundown of your career. Wait, wait.
Sunrise of my career.
Sunrise of your career, sundown of your life. That's a lot. There's still, those are two countering things. At the very least gives you something to live for. I'm trying to find that pinprick of light that makes me go like, are both things screwed up right now? Should I go start digging the grave in my backyard?
Yeah. I mean, if I was 20 doing all this stuff, it would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Yeah. But I think you're finding it's weird how you, in different stages in your career, you'll find a groove. I was watching this. I can't remember what it was, like, especially in entertainment and most specifically video games, how things are a tiny bit challenging, if not shitty right now, because so many things are in flux. And I've seen a handful of people who I've worked with directly moving into different careers, because they understand until this works itself out, or, something comes along a lot faster. Some of these guys have been out of work for 16 months, 18 months working for the video game industry, and my heart breaks. I can't bear to open LinkedIn anymore because there's just so much sort of like, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you've been to LinkedIn recently, but when you can have your profile picture, and if you're available to work, there's a little ring that pops around your profile picture that says, available to work. And I don't know how many of those green rings I've seen. It's like a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. And
a handful of people, I'm going to guess if it were up to them, they would never make these posts, but they are at the end of their rope and they're like, hey, I don't want to put up the message like this, but
dude, I'm
at
the
end of my rope. And
the strangest thing I saw was, this must've been last year.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years ago. It was at New York Comic-Con. I think it was last year. I'm thinking, a girl came up to me, works in animation, and saw everything coming. I was like, I need, like, everyone. She's like, everyone's jumping ship. I want to get.
When did she see it? Did she say what year, or did she?
No. I mean, when she was at New York Comic-Con, I'm not saying she was ahead of it coming. It was happening. It was at the beginning of it happening. Yeah, and like everyone was jumping ship. She had a job, but she was getting ahead of it. So she's like, I want to get into working in comics. And she said, and last minute, she bought herself a ticket to New York Comic-Con to figure out how to get in comics.
Yeah.
Showed me her portfolio. She's amazing. And she wanted to get in doing cover work at DC.
Yeah.
And I introduced her to the editor I work with at DC, Katie, and she's doing stuff there. She's doing a lot in comics now, but just looking at her work, Camille Rodriguez, do you know her? I don't know if you know her. She's really amazing artist.
Good.
But I one look at her portfolio, it was like, you could be like the hot new cover artist on Catwoman and Poison Ivy and Spider-Man. Like, I could see it. So it was a no-brainer. But, coming up when we came up, people went to animation from comics for the security, the stability, the pay. To see them now coming to this side, it's like, whoa, things are really fucked.
I think, I think there's just, people are looking for consistent work, Yeah. People are going back to school and getting their master's in some capacity, or at the very least, some kind of certification that allows them to be relevant in that space,
Yeah. I mean, from where I'm sitting, I would recommend this. If you can give yourself 5 years to make it happen, build your own shit.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but when you're on the other side, it's like there's nothing can take it away. Like, I don't have to worry about AI taking my job. I don't have to worry about getting fired. Like, I'm captain of my ship.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you just put your mind to it and put the time into it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good way to be.
Yeah.
And not even just for arts. I was just talking to a girl who's working the front desk in my office building, who is a chef. And she worked at a culinary school and was teaching kids cooking, and she needed insurance. So she got this job, and now her husband has insurance. And she's like, yeah, but the pay sucks if I go back. I'm like, why don't you just do it on your own? Like, make your videos, use social media, build it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something to be said about that. I mean, that's just building your own ship for the future, because it's always better to go the other way. It's always better to have something in place, and then something comes along and goes like, hey, this might not be exactly the thing that you're doing right now, but whatever, we'll compensate you for it, right? Rather than the other way. The feeling.
Oh, totally.
The thing that got me into that pit, I gotta be honest with you, and you know this because we talked about it offline, but you know, I'll express it to the 5 people watching. The thing that got me into the pit was this. It wasn't even the helplessness of like getting let go from the video game job and just kind of sitting there. You know what I mean? And going like, what am I doing next? Because I have stuff to do, right? Like I have things to draw and blah, blah, blah. It's not for the lack of things to do. It's the disappointment that I felt in myself for letting it get to that point. Does that make sense?
I went through the same exact thing.
Here's the video game job, right? And it compensates you really well. But instead of, and I'm going to use a word that I think you can, a lot of people can relate to, not just you and me, but like, instead of like, hey, let me take what this thing is paying me and build out the arc that I need in order to sustain me long term, knowing you should know full well that whatever you're in, it has every opportunity to go away. Right. So instead of saying, hey, let me get on your boat and figure out, how we can continue to row together, build your own boat, so that when that one goes away or goes in a direction that you don't particularly care for, you always have your own boat to ride, And so that was the disappointment. I knew that, but I got comfortable. Right. There's a lot of factors that are in place. You got kids, you got a house, you got bills, you got mortgage, whatever.
I mean, that's not just comfort. That's security. When you have kids, having health insurance is no fucking joke. Like,
for sure. Yeah. But you also have to consider keep that in, take that into consideration. That's part of the math, right? The life math. But there's got to be this part. And that's ultimately what really made me super depressed, was like, and it really, again, frustrated and disappointed in myself. It's like, I knew that. Why did I lose track of that? And so it took a long time to recalibrate. Like, okay, stop beating yourself up over this thing that you didn't do. That's already this massive, kiddie pool of spilled milk that you can't fucking do anything about,
Yeah.
Get back on your horse, and it's not too late, because in a way, and I don't know how you feel about this. In a way, my work can still be relevant. And the network that I've built up over the years still respect. Here's the thing that caught me by surprise. The network I built up over the years still very much interested in helping me, get back on my feet. Right.
Yeah.
The one thing that they didn't know, and it's so stupid of me to think like this, but like the one thing I couldn't even begin to, that makes so much sense. It's so obvious. The one thing that I didn't know is that they didn't know that I was looking to get back into the mix. Does that make sense? Like, there was just I wasn't broadcasting it to them to be like, hey, I want to start doing that stuff again. So when I approached them, they're like, oh, what the heck? I thought you were sort of, happy where you were. It's like, oh yeah, all I need to do is ask. And that's a huge, that's a huge muscle that you kind of need to like reflex again. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. I think you and I went through something very similar, but where you said you knew better, I didn't. And so I couldn't, I felt betrayed. I felt angry.
Yeah.
Like when the calls just stopped coming in, or just the simple responses. When I would be asking for work from people I had worked with or known for years, and it just got silence.
If this thing quits again, I quit.
Dude, you know what I think? You're running everything into like a board. Is that correct?
No, not in the other one.
Oh, the camera's going right into the computer?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. There goes
Yeah, the
that thing.
camera is literally shutting off like it's run out of power even after I change out the power. So
Yeah, that's weird, man.
you're weird. Your butt's weird.
So I've got something massive in my warehouse. Look at that. See the thumbs up? I got the thumbs up on the screen there. I've got something massive in my warehouse, and we're going to talk about it on the Patreon. So if you're not subscribed to the Inkpulp Patreon, get it now, and you'll get a bonus episode every week that is only for the Patreon listeners and early access to the normal episodes. So see you over there, and subscribe, comment, share, and all the things. Did I forget anything, Eric?
And I think because I'm getting a natural urge to lurch, I think you nailed it right on the head. You know.
Okay. Yeah. That's a sign I did it right.
It is. Yeah.
All right. So I was waiting for you. I was able to read Matteo's email thoroughly. So let me just. No, it's funny. It's really funny, and we have a graphic to show. So when Eric and I were waiting to record, we were like, "Where's Matteo?" And so I texted him, and I was like, "Yo, are you coming?" And I get an email from him responding to the link I sent, and this is what his email says to me: "Please, please, please," in all caps, "show the attached image publicly during the podcast." Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So he attached a screenshot of a conversation him and I had 25 days ago.
Okay.
Where he said, "Yo, so I'm realizing that I'm not going to be able to record on September 19th. I'll be in Milan that day." Okay. And then my sarcastic response to that, "Yo, yeah, we talked about this already. That's the day we were waiting to hear from Pepe Larraz about, so I don't want to move it. Eric and I got it no matter what happens. Remember?" And then I had to be an asshole. I said, "Now who's old?" And I sent him a kiss emoji. So today he just texted me, "Now who's old?" because I forgot about that conversation. So Jamie, that will be a Monday. You can put that graphic on the screen.
You guys are perfect for each other.
And I was talking shit because when he sent the screenshot, like when Matteo sends me screenshots, it's always I'm the asshole. In this instance, we were both the assholes. So I felt but you
but you guys are adorable. What were we talking about? By the way, again, see, it happened. Like it happened again. I could have sworn I have this thing. It is so strange to me that after all that I've done, the only thing I did was rearrange my desktop, change the camera out, move the camera and change the lens out. Now it's like, I don't want to work anymore. You haven't used me for what feels like months, and now you're trying to turn me on. F you.
Yeah. I just feel like technology, everything's been designed as technology moves forward with the idea that this will make life easier and simpler.
Right.
And it has done the opposite.
Actually, I disagree. I think it's become so simple and easy. We have offloaded understanding how to make it work, right? So when it breaks, it's not an easy fix.
That's a fair point.
Right?
But what I mean is, like, we created these things to have, like, for work. To work less. It'll make our jobs easier. Yeah. We're working harder than we've ever worked. The technology is allowing us to do more. So we're not slowing down. Nothing's gotten easier. We're busier than ever. Our minds are more occupied than probably is healthy for us as human beings. And people are just like constant, like there's no slowing down. And that's what I mean when I say technology is supposed to make everything easier, better, but it's made everything more difficult because we could do this much before, and now technology is allowing us to do this much. Yeah. So now our brain has to keep up with all this. It's too much.
It's worth considering. Let me sort of like push back on that, right? Yeah. So So here, like I'll use your analogy, which is like technology has allowed us to has allowed us to work this much, right? I think what ends up happening for a lot of people, I think you and I are included in this. We're not immune from it. Technology has allowed us to work this much. And so now we go like, we're like plants. You know what I mean? Like if you, like the technology has expanded the pot and now we're like, oh, let's go fill it with stuff. As opposed to like when it used to only allow us for this much, we said, okay, well, within the context of that, we can only do so much, so we'll work within the context of it, right?
No,
but like the moment technology
right.
said, let's expand it more, and instead of saying like, cool, now I have more time on my hands, we go and fill it with stuff,
Right. I mean, that's on us, but it's on everyone. So if you have a job, it's not just on you. Your employer now expects it. Like, I mean, we grew up in a world where weekends you didn't work. Like, parents were home on the weekends
on purpose,
and there was or vacation. Like. I remember when I was at SCAD, I was working all the weekends. I was expected to respond to an email sent on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's silly. That's silly.
Yeah,
the analogy that I always give is that back when I was a kid, I lived in a block where people worked on their engines on the weekend. They had those little, they'd pull them out of their cars, work them over the weekends. And I remember my neighbor, I'd walk across the street, heading to where I was heading to. And just the nature of it, you kind of know 4 houses to the left of your house, 4 houses to the right of your house. Everybody kind of knew each other. And I'd pass by and he would be, I don't even know the term for it. So forgive me, freaking car nuts. But they were like putting the engine block back into the actual chassis of the car. Right. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking into the chassis and you could see the ground. Mm-hmm. From where I was looking for, hoods up, I'm looking and you could see the garage floor. And now I open up my car because something, I need to refill freaking wiper fluid and it is dense in there, man.
Yeah.
It is packed from one end of the car to the other of like just stuff. And that to me is like an analogy of where we've come, we've gone.
I think you're right.
We fill it with so much stuff that potentially could make the performance or the experience of living, in this case, driving a car, better. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that when one part breaks, it takes so much to unpack just to go and fix the thing, as opposed to keeping it as simple as possible. It may not be high end performance, but certainly when something breaks, it's easier to get to and fix.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. Cause I mean, you and I are wired to like understand what we're using and how to use it. When it comes to the camera and the technology, it's so much like,
oh dude, here's the thing.
I was a photography minor in college. I look at these cameras. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's not, this world is this time, this phase, this season is not built for you and me. Let's just go dig those 7-foot graves in our respective
instead
backyards.
Instead of that, let's just go move to a quiet little beach village and live a quiet little life. Like, why does it have to be death?
That's a studio. Oh, listen, that's a Studio Ghibli life that you're trying to like. That's a cartoon life that you're trying to go for, man. Here's the other thing too. Like, I remember, even Matteo when he said, "Oh, I live in a small town in Parma," right? And in my head, small town is exactly like freaking Porco Rosso or like Kiki's Delivery Service, And then we go there and he drives me into central, the central part of Parma. You've been, right? And it's not, sure by
I've been
contrast
with you
to
twice.
Yeah. Okay. I block out a lot of things that we're hanging out, But like you get there and it's by contrast to Rome. Rome is massive.
Right.
But
it's not a small city.
It's not as small as you like. And again, it's in my head. There's like,
no, but I've been
fresh bread being made.
Yeah, but you've been to San Gimignano. I mean, that place is like, that's like Porco Rosso. Like that's tiny little village.
Sure. Yeah. You want to move to a place like that. And then, when you're like, damn it, when is FedEx going to pick up? We don't have FedEx here.
Yeah, I'm like, the internet sucks here. I can't do anything. When we were there, like the 4 of us, me, Steph, and the kids, were looking around like, could we live here? this would be amazing. Like, I love that city. I don't even know if city is the right word for it.
It's beautiful. I can't say the name. If Elia Benetti is listening, it was so hard for me to say. I just started calling it St. Jimmy, you know?
Yeah, why is it so hard to say? Because I remember when we first, like, now I can say it easily because I've said it so many times. But at first I was like, everyone in the car was like, wait, how do you say this? What's it called?
Yeah. Oh, it's for the lack of, it's at least for me, it's because I'm stupid, you know, so I just refuse to learn.
I mean, I'm probably the same way.
Saying Jimmy is fine by me.
Jimmy is hilarious.
I love that city though. Love that city.
You know what? I have a couple things that we can talk about.
Yeah, go.
One is, I don't think I made a mistake by doing this. I stand by what I did, but it showed me, taught me a lot about social media. When I was at Dragon Con, there was they have a no AI art policy in their contract.
Was it in the contract?
Yeah.
This has gone around. Is that your footage that's going around that everybody is using?
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay. Is there like the Inkpulp, you know what? I quit. The Inkpulp logo on it? Anyway?
No, because I posted it in the moment and I didn't have like video editing equipment to put my logo onto it with. I also didn't think this would happen. It's
getting around, man. That's specific. When you sent it to me, I thought you had pulled it from somebody, only for it to dawn on me that when I see it at anybody else's footage, it was like, oh, that's Shawn going over there, getting into the mix.
It's also, at 400. It's at 407,000 views.
Yeah. And it's not, and that doesn't capture how many times people have sort of like downloaded it and used it for their own YouTube clips and so on.
Well, Can I tell you? Yeah.
Can I tell you? I heard you like. There's a little giggle in the background. That's you giggling, I think.
It could be. It could be. It was me and Zoe.
There's
glee.
Well could be. No, maybe it's just me hoping that it's you laughing.
No, there was some glee in there. So, you know, like Chrissy and Chrissy Zulo and Chris Uminga, you know them, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we're friendly and I always chat with them and we're always talking about AI stuff because we see AI art at cons and Chris is always like, hey, this guy's AI. This guy's AI. So he comes over.
You're just pointing at people.
Yeah. Just
Arthur Adams. That guy's AI.
Pure AI. But you know, and we've talked about it to the point where like, he was like, hey, I think this guy is, I'm like, no, I know that guy. He can draw like amazing. It's not AI.
Yeah.
So Chris comes over. He's like, dude, they're shutting down. The cops are here. They're shutting down a booth for having AI. And I was like, what? So I walk over there and I see like the cops standing there and I see Jamie, who's in charge of the artist alley at Dragon Con, standing in front of the booth. And I see the guy behind the booth packing it all up. It's like 70% empty by the time I get there. So I'm filming it. And I'm like, this is fascinating because for the past couple of years, you've been seeing people selling AI stuff on the con floor, claiming it as their own, and it's gross. And you're like, is this like the future? But to see like finally a little pushback felt great. So I was like, all right, I filmed it. I was like, let me just post this. This is a moment for the craft lovers. This is a little victory for us. So I put it out there and I didn't anticipate what would happen. It just went nuts.
Yeah.
I also, someone pointed out to me the account of the person who was selling it. So I put their account on my story and then that person started DMing me like nasty messages.
Oh yeah.
Like not even, let me see if I can find them. They weren't even
everybody
like
knows who it is already. So it's not like,
yeah. No, I know, but they weren't even like saying, "Hey, it's not AI." There was no like they weren't even trying to like make it like it was their art. They just like the responses were. Yeah, well, it was like, I'm making more money than you'll ever know, so you and all your haters can just stay being losers. It was like that, and I didn't respond. And then I posted her response. I was just like, I'm just going to let her own words show the world who this person is. And so then she sent me another one and it was just the same shit. Like, you know, you all are losers and blah, blah, blah. You know, you can spend all the money you want to do these shows. I'm killing it. And okay, whatever. Didn't respond to that either, but it went nuts. And I saw like that night, my video was on Bleeding Cool and there were podcasts using my footage.
Sure.
And I had a lot of artists reaching out to me being like, thanks for like posting this. It's good to see this. And it seemed to give a lot of people like I said, a feeling of a small victory against what for a lot of people has been a behemoth, scary monster.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, cool. I didn't do anything terrible. I don't like to lower myself.
Were you feeling guilty about it?
No, I wasn't feeling guilty about it. It's like I don't like to do negative things. I don't like to post negative shit, but I felt like I was trying to. My post was really about like the craft can survive all of this. See, like people, like I've been saying all along, I think people are going to get tired of like everything being fake and false and the lack of the human experience or the human experience being removed from everything. I was like, people are going to start to crave tactile experiences, human experiences. So, but what happened was the amount of comments and negativity that flowed and misinformation. Like it's still happening. Like right before we got on, there's some guy, like nobody reads or researches anything. Some guy's like, yeah, they just sued Dragon Con for $10,000 and won. I'm like, but that's not true. Like that didn't happen. But the amount of, but it keeps getting comments. And every time I open up my Instagram and see like the comments in my like notifications area, it brings me down. Like, I'm like, I don't like to track, like people are arguing on there and it's just like so ugly. Like everyone wants to go viral. And after this, I'm like, why? Why would you want this? Like, you're better off like having like good performing posts for your audience with lots of positive engagement. But it's just, it showed me a side of the internet where like, because there are people that love doing this, that love being like stirring up the pot and being a provocateur and like getting people arguing. And that side of social media really is disgusting to me. And I didn't want to be a part of it, but it just, I learned a lot from this experience and it showed me a lot. And, but it's still going on. I'm just waiting for it to like quiet down and like disappear a little bit. But
where's the thing? Like, I mean, it's regardless of your intent, right? Like, here's a brand new baby boy or whatever. Like, you want him to grow up to be
right,
a freaking, whatever the next what have you, the positive impact in society. But it changes into something else the moment it gets out there because it's open for as much interpretation as possible. Ultimately, I don't know. I don't need to tell you this, but there's a callus that you need to build up against that kind of stuff. Here is my intent. And if somebody goes, well, that's not how I took it. I'm like, and it always goes back to what Maddie was saying. It was like, yeah, but that's your bullshit, not my bullshit.
No, right. And like, I'm fine with it. It's just gross seeing how the people are with each other. Like just seeing.
Oh yeah. Like, yeah. But I mean, really they've been predisposed to be gross to each other. There's always a person out there who will take exception to whatever, an emoji that you use. So just something as innocuous as possible. Here's this guy. He's getting it kicked out. I mean, if you talk about it purely from purely from like the technical perspective of it, we have a policy in the show that says no AI. You came into the show and started selling AI stuff. Therefore, you have to go. If you say, I don't want to leave, we now have to press a bunch of buttons that, compels you to leave, not the least of which involving, what is it? The police, right?
Well, I'll explain. So what happened was the day after Dragon Con ended, Jamie, who's in charge of the Artist Alley, was getting tattooed at my tattoo shop by Eric Talbot, who was staying at my house after Dragon Con, and we were tattooing together. And when Jamie was there, we got to hear like the whole story.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so the reason the police were there is it's just policy. If someone is being kicked out of a convention for breaking a rule or a policy, it is the building's policy, not Dragon Con, the building that they're renting's policy to have
there you go.
A police person there to make sure nothing happens. That's it. That's why the cops were there.
Yeah.
But Jamie, the story of what happened was this artist submitted work that wasn't AI.
Oh, okay.
And when they set up the booth, none of that art was what was being sold.
Oh,
All of the art being
interesting.
sold was AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people are like, some of the artists are complaining to him, hey, this booth is full of AI. So Jamie's going and looking at it, and he's getting suspicious about it. He's running a couple pieces through the app that tells you the percentage, and it's like it's coming back like 97% hits, like AI, every like piece after piece. So he confronts them about it. They're like, no, this is all hand painted. And the other rule they broke was the girl who applied showed up on day one, set up the booth, and vanished. And her boyfriend ran the booth. And the reason she vanished is she was caught at C2E2 and another show. I forget which one. So she doesn't want her face out there because people are looking for her. So she had her boyfriend run the booth. So the other rule she broke was you have to be at your booth if you apply. So she broke two rules. So when she wasn't there, Jamie's like, look, she has to be here. And they're like, oh, she can't. She's on vacation with her dad, blah, blah, blah. So now the girl is calling Jamie, and she's like, look, I none of it's AI. I promise you, I'll send you video of me making the pieces. So she sends these Photoshop videos of the file where she's obviously just turning layers on and off. Like there's nothing being made. It's just layers doing this. Yeah. And she thinks that'll fool Jamie. It doesn't. So that night, Jamie, after the show closes down, he goes to their booth and takes a picture of everything they're selling, and all of it. But I think one or two pieces, like they had like hundreds of pieces, all of it came back AI. Yeah. So at this point, they're now, they know Jamie's onto them. So on Saturday, they're selling stuff, but they're telling their customers pick it up tomorrow, thinking that will force Jamie to have them stay so that the people can pick up the art they purchased. So they're doing some shady shit there. And then what happened was Jamie, when I was like Sunday morning, was like, you guys have to go. Like you got to pack up and go. And they're trying different tactics to stall for time. So the other thing is, I forgot to say this at the beginning, when it first started happening, when Jamie was first questioning it, the girl called Jamie and was like, look, I just actually before that, I think it was after the application process, because Jamie said this should have been a red flag. She said to him, she's like, look, a lot of people accuse me of using AI and I'm getting a lot of death threats. So I'm just letting you know, like we might need some security. So she's playing the victim from the beginning. So then when Jamie is like, comes over with the police, is like, it's time to go, she calls Jamie and she goes, I need your help. There are people at my booth right now threatening my boyfriend's life, and I need the police there to protect him. And Jamie's like, that's interesting because I'm at your booth right now and there's a policeman right next to me and nobody is here threatening your boyfriend. And that's that. After that, it was like silence and shut down and gone. Yeah. So they were doing some shit. And the other weird thing is, she's part of a family gallery. I think it's her dad's in Wynwood, in Miami, which is a really high end art area. It's like have you ever been to Wynwood? It's awesome. It's just galleries and murals, and it's a whole arts district, but it's like not cheap to have a gallery space there. And her AI art is all in it. So I don't know. So that's all. That's the backstory behind what happened. So I'm seeing a lot of
on technicality. One, there's a policy that says you cannot sell AI art, and now two, you've added to it, which is like the moment we have to kick you out, we are compelled to by the organization, if not the building, to escort you out. They weren't forcibly trying to kick them out with cops, right? They were just like, hey, we gotta. This is part of the process, right? Right. So I think that's the one that I saw where people were like pushing back, going like, "Oh, you need to get cops involved." You know, it was like, I don't. You know, it's it's these people who are uninformed and they go into the feelings. They immediately go down the feelings avenue, and it doesn't delegitimize the feeling, but they speak with such a high level of authority of what you should and should not do. Based on that feeling, not taking a moment to go like, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now, but what is the actuality? And so maybe that'll help me understand why things are happening the way they're happening. That's when I start seeing, based on the comments that I'm seeing, like, oh, why did they have to get, law enforcement involved? And then I can't remember the last one where I took a look at where it's like, like, oh, when cops start telling you you can't be in a place, I'm like, calm the fuck down, man. You think like randomly cops are just going in there saying, I don't like AI, so I'm going to kick you out of this place.
Exactly.
You have a malnourished brain,
a positive thing that came out of this was there was another artist there who's a lot of artists have been seeing at cons lately who's obviously using AI. And this artist works for Disney. I think it's called Arc Athena.
Arc Athena.
And so that artist knows a friend of the show, Dominic. And so that artist went over to Dominic and was like, when all this was happening, was like, hey man, a lot of people are accusing me of AI. He's like, how do you combat this? Because I guess he assumed Dominic was using AI. And Dominic's like, oh, dude, it's so easy. Look. And he pulls up the app and Dominic takes a picture of his work and says, see, look, it came back like 0.1% chance it's AI. And he's like, so give me a piece of yours. I'll show you how it works. And the guy's like, oh, no, that's okay. I'm just going to sue them. And so he walked away. But that guy, when Disney, the post I did went so viral, I guess the Disney people saw it and they fired him. They wiped all of his art from the game, and it caught up with him. So in that case, it's cool to see a corporation be like, I don't know how they didn't know, but okay, now that you know, you did something about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what their filtering, vetting processes are, but when you have a card game, so much art goes through the pipeline. I'm unsurprised why it reaches, why it gets through and actually gets published. Ultimately, it's not the how it got through. It's more like, what are you doing now that the accident has happened, or like the issue has happened? What are you doing to remedy it? And if your policy says, hey, we have a hard stance against AI being part of our organization and our production process, then you go deal with it then and say, hey, and then you go to your public and say, sorry, we are imperfect, and we're going to do better next time. And that should be that.
So that was that whole thing. And just still seeing, like, it's not super active anymore, but every day I see a comment or two. I just don't engage with any of it.
That are pushing back on the people getting kicked out.
All different aspects of it. Like some people are like, celebrating it, and some people are just arguing back and forth about the legitimacy of AI, and like some of the people who use AI are coming on just being nasty. Like, y'all are losers, evolve or die, like shit like that. Where you're like, all right, good luck.
But to be fair, they're not wrong. Like, we are all losers and we should evolve before we die. What else you got? Like, shut the fuck up.
I don't know. It's just the internet, man.
Yeah, it's just the internet. It makes me laugh that some, not all of them, some AI people are just perfectly fine just being in the background, doing whatever the heck they want. But it's the one that crave legitimacy somehow that now starts strawmanning everything from like, hey, you guys are just gatekeepers, blah, like all of it. It just makes me laugh because at the end of the day, when they get pushback, they're so butthurt about it.
Right. But also it's like, what are you going to do when it comes for your job? Like, are you still going to have this belief system? Like, I just think, like, are you going to be okay? Like when the NBA is a bunch of robots running around, like with perfect shots, and
I'm
like,
totally okay with the NBA being but just a bunch of robots and just like,
but I mean, missing. It's like at that point, like, what are you watching? There's not like the reason I think we like sports is because you're seeing people who have trained the human body to do things that seem nearly impossible, and they're doing it, and it's like, it's incredible to see what the body can be pushed to do when focused and trained. But robots, it's just programming. At that point, is there any excitement anymore?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's just like, oh, of course, that's, like the Olympics with robots. Everyone's getting perfect tens. Like, yeah, of course. Like, what's interesting about this?
You're fighting against the inevitable, Shawn. We're gonna have robot Olympics.
No, I think I still believe in the species, the human species. They're going to get real tired of all this.
I see the current reaction to AI much like anything. It's a bunch of people who couldn't do what they're able to do now, and they are so soft-hearted about people telling them, "Hey, that's not real." It becomes, they now understand that personal feeling when an artist gets a portfolio review and they say like, "Hey, you can't draw."
Yeah,
and they go like, "What do you mean I can't draw?"
But the difference there is that person put effort and time into preparing that portfolio. Mm-hmm. The AI
and you're
person,
saying these guys didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they're just typing somewhere. I mean, I know it probably took a day to learn how to do it.
No. What I'm saying is that they have a certain, independent of, I agree with you, independent of the effort, independent of the sort of thinking and the craft and the application that went into it, right? But to put whatever, pencil to paper or paint to canvas, there is a pride in ownership, right? That they like, I made this. I was unable to make it before. I made this. This is an extension of me. And somebody comes in and goes like, "Yeah, but you made slop," and they're like, "How dare you?" right. And I'm like, you don't want to admit it because obviously you love the idea that you're now able to make this thing. You don't have enough of a discerning eye to understand how sloppy it is, but okay, I get it. You're very human to me, It gets so big. It gets so big and out of control. I often think to myself, like, it's so many things there's so many external things that we are compelled to care about. We lose track of the internal things that we're supposed to prioritize. Yeah. I get caught up in it too. There's plenty of things outside my office
it's hard
door.
Not to.
Yeah, but AI art, I understand why, because it is this juggernaut that's coming, and it's harming a lot of the jobs that used to be built in for people who actually care about the craft. Yes. And if you think about how it's being utilized now, it's being thought of as a shortcut because it's so much quote unquote cheaper or financially viable to take out the human component and say like, oh, you can get away with so much less, or you can get away with the same and spend so much less. And I go like, yeah, okay, but then later on, don't complain about furniture being like fucking IKEA because that's what you did to yourself,
Right. And the bottom line is if all the creators, the humans, stopped working for these companies and went and just did their own things and didn't use AI, and then the companies were left with nothing but AI, you'd see the difference. Like, it wouldn't survive. You and I would see the difference for sure. I mean, I'm not trying to be cynical. I don't know if I think they would, like, I'm trying to think of a movie that I saw. Like, I'm going to pick on Wish, right? Which jokingly people are like, Wish is an AI movie. Like, it was made by AI. But I know I've seen a handful of portfolios in character designers and so on that I've actually worked on that movie. So I don't want to diminish their effort. But like, you can tell when you can feel when something isn't made with the same level of craft and care that it used to be made with, right? But it takes a while for people to say, well, I don't want that anymore, right? Or potentially, if you want to get really super cynical, people are just like totally okay with the enshittification of like entertainment. Well, yeah, possibly. But I just feel like it's all just going to be the same. They're just going to be recycling
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, and you're saying the public won't care.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that if you and I, from craftspeople perspective, care about it, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we are not the people that these things are being made for, clearly. What I really want to take a metric of is like when they start making this thing ad nauseum, when they just start making it the production factory, whatever, and they start releasing it out. I think the I think the marker is when it stops making money. The moment it stops making money,
that's
people will be like,
it.
we can't do, because like the person at that show, you know, they're like, oh, I'm making money. You guys are freaking losers.
That was all
and
they
blah,
cared
blah,
about.
blah, blah.
That's all they cared about.
Yeah. But the moment that stops, right? The moment somebody goes like, we don't want your stupid AI shit because we can get it from 15 other people that can make your stupid AI shit. We actually want, you know, I live in Oregon, and once in a while driving to the movie theaters, I drive by an actual furniture warehouse where they still make wooden furniture. Or they
awesome.
import them. They import them from it's close to you, like North Carolina, right?
Yeah. There's a big furniture in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yeah,
Lots
but actual furniture, like they actually make it out of wood. Somebody actually goes and designs it. Even though they route things with machines now, certainly there's still a manufacturing component that's made here. And then when you actually engage with it from a tactile perspective, you're like, oh crap, that thing is actually made out of wood. You know, like it's not something that I can just lift up and like toss around, you know?
Yeah.
And so it has some level of longevity. When people start trending towards that, that's when I'll know. I'm like, oh yeah, your days are numbered. It's coming. You know, it's not a matter of if, it's going to come, because, you know, it ultimately comes down to money, right? Like the moment somebody figures out, hey, this is not worth the money that I'm paying for because it brings me no inherent joy nor value. That's lights out for you guys. So it's how long can you, as an artist who believes that AI is slop and it is your industry and it's impacting you negatively, how long can you hold out? And if you can hold out for a long time, then it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I that's my belief as well. That's awfully optimistic of you, Eric.
I won't be around. I'll be dead.
Oh, you think it's going to take that long?
Yeah, it's going to take some time because people,
I'm trying with everything I'm doing. I'm really trying to go back to more and more man-made. Like I just ordered screen prints for my new prints, not digital prints. And so I'm curious to see how they sell. Like I just got the posters I did for Wu-Tang Clan that were all screen printed, and it looks so good. Yeah. Like a good screen print looks so nice. It's rather than like a cheap digital print. Like, so yeah, I'm trying to get back more and more to stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about, man. I haven't.
It seems like our community is really into that stuff. I mean,
are they?
Everyone loves all the craft talk we do and loves to talk about the different tools we're using. It seems to be like the young generation coming up is really getting back to the traditions of stuff.
Yeah, I think we're getting into that cycle of like, here's a new audience and their value systems are different now. It's not as fast and as disposable as it once was. They actually, I feel like in the handful of cases that I've ever run into, they care about the craftsmanship and the quality of something as opposed to the immediacy of like, you know, instant gratification of something, which is great.
Yeah, I saw an article about young photographers are developing film again.
Are they?
And they're really, and I remember doing that when I was in undergrad. I loved I could spend a day in the darkroom developing. Like that shit was amazing. Yeah. It's such a magical process. Yeah, but that's, you're starting to see some of that coming back.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that analogy or that story that I told in regards to the car, right? They built something for a long time to be as efficient as no thinking as possible, right?
Right.
And then eventually people go like, well, actually, I want to think about stuff again.
Yeah.
Like, it's because when something does kind of fall apart or goes into a space of like, I don't understand it, then people are starting to become curious again, which is great. I think when they took the curiosity out, at least it's not a huge movement, but I appreciate it when people are like, I don't know how that works, you know? And more importantly, I don't know how that works, and let me go turn to an expert who actually understands how that works. That's even better, right? Because I think is when people were just offloading knowledge onto somebody else and they don't care about it and blah, blah, blah. Just as long as it works, they say, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's something to that for sure. It makes your life easier because in any given 24 hours, you have other things to deal with. But if and when the opportunity comes up for you to learn something, that's why it's so critical that you actually not necessarily know about it, because nobody expects you to know about everything, but actually have the curiosity to go like, I want to know about that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's coming back in a big way, at least for my,
It has to. It has to. It has to. Knowledge.
How do you figure it has to?
I just feel like we've gotten to a place where like no one understands truth anymore. Like you don't know it's real. Like you can, anything you want to find, like, you know, someone, you could watch a reel where someone's like, look, don't ever eat grapes again. Grapes cause cancer. And then you Google it and you're gonna be like, oh shit, grapes cause cancer. Cause this thing just told me grapes cause cancer. Right. And it's like, and you could have like the whole idea that like science is like rejected now is crazy. Like just watching people reject science because of a podcaster. Yeah. It's insane. For sure. And it's like, so I think in order for us as a species to not fully collapse on ourselves, we're going to have to start respecting knowledge again and having experts, like people who have studied and practiced and trained in these areas. It's like you and I are sending each other reels about people teaching art on Instagram, and you're just watching these reels like, what are they even saying? But you're looking at the amount of views it's getting and you're like, people don't know, this is just trash. Yeah, but I think, could they know, you know, the results, like, when those people start practicing and trying to learn from the videos, though, like that person's selling, they're going to be like, well, I'm not getting anywhere. Like, oh, okay. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, there's one guy I follow. He seems like a really nice guy. He uses social media really well. Sure. And he teaches comic book art. He's never drawn a comic book in his life.
I love that. I love that, dude. Go fucking lie. You know, like straight up.
I don't even think he's lying. I think he's just like, this is what I do. I teach comic book art. But
really? And he's never drawn a comic book?
No.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to teach swimming.
And I saw a pro that we know, a friend of ours, liked one of his posts, and I texted him. I was like, dude, do you know this guy? He's like, no, I liked how he made that reel. I was like, you realize he has no idea what he's talking about. And so he went and looked at his account. He's like, oh my God, this guy has no clue.
Yeah. So, I think the reason why I'm laughing is like the audacity of it. And I was like, God.
But my point is, I don't think they even realize they're being audacious, because this is what social media has taught them. You don't need, it's not about knowing, it's about performing. It's like, if you can perform well enough, you're legitimate. And that's why I think we're going to get back to needing
Let me go
knowledge.
back to what you're talking about. I don't think that, you know, you're talking about like, hey, people trust the podcaster more than they trust the actual science. I understand the core of that message makes a lot of sense to me. I think I want to go one step back before that and say, like, we are no longer in an era in which you could trust everything that's on TV. And TV has, you know, that level of like, hey, we give over our trust to you has now gone out of television and now has gone into like podcasting. Like, basically what I'm saying is don't trust us either. Like, we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look here, and I agree with you. Like, we're just podcasters. I can guarantee you that when it comes to like art and stuff, what I'm saying, I've practiced, I've put it to work, and it's worked for me. So I stand behind that stuff. But if I start giving you fucking health suggestions, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
Yeah. Here's my, but here's the thing that I want to go back to what I was talking about, which is like, be infinitely curious, right? I think what people have a tendency to do is sort of draw a line in the sand. I listen to the Inkpulp podcast, and Shawn says the best thing in the world is to buy these screen printed rubber stamps or whatever. I'm just using that as an example. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's the best thing. Right. And I'm like, I mean, it's a thing for sure.
Right.
You know,
right.
My attitude is always like, that works for Shawn. It may not work for you.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I try to always be responsible when I'm saying like, look, this works for me. Yeah. I'm not saying this is like, I always say like, inking with a brush for me is my way of doing it. And I love it.
Here's the other thing, even though it
Alexander, go ahead.
Yeah. Even though it works for Shawn, it doesn't take the legitimacy where Shawn's coming from out of the equation, right? It doesn't mean like, oh, I tried the rubber stamp thing and it works, therefore Shawn is a bad educator. I always say these days, like, but Shawn is a bad source for like information in regards to doing traditional art. It doesn't take that out of the equation. My attitude is more like trust but verify, right? Go figure out for yourself. Okay, so I like Shawn. I like the stuff that he's doing. I tried it. It doesn't work. That's too bad. I'll go do something else. It doesn't mean like, hey, that guy sucks. Like that doesn't matter.
Right.
I think ultimately that's where it comes down to. Be infinitely curious about something. And of course, there's a couple of things you're going to have to trust. Like, for instance, you have to trust fucking gravity. Like, you're experiencing gravity right now.
Right.
The moment you say, hey, science sucks and gravity doesn't exist, I bet you there's going to be somebody in the comment that's like, gravity actually doesn't exist. It's just a concept.
That's the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the internet, right? But for the most part, there's some things where you can just like defer to like, a specific level of expertise because you are experiencing it yourself, Yeah. I think there's a line when you're talking about that guy who doesn't, I think I know who you're talking about when it comes to like giving out instructions, about making comics or like anatomy. And they're just talking about like composition or like whatever, like they're using terms that seem very, very lofty.
Right. But
for the uninitiated, but for the uninitiated, you go like, you could have said it much simpler, and you would have still said the same exact nothing. Right.
Exactly.
But you use technical words and people are like, oh, I must have a scholastic academic knowledge of whatever the heck this is.
Right.
But from learned guys, you more than me, but from learned guys, we're like, that guy's not saying anything. That guy's not saying anything helpful. But it seems like he's saying something.
Right.
Like anytime I hear somebody like, oh gosh, who's Marquez Brownling, who's like MKBHD, I think. Like, he's talking about the stuff that he loves when it comes to like tech, right? So he's this influencer on YouTube. I think everybody knows him. He's got a gazillion people following him. Like, he's talking about, like the new iPhones just got announced, and he's talking about like who are these specific tiers of iPhones for, and blah 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 blah. Like, there's a level of expertise that he knows because he's been doing it for a while. Right. And you contrast it to, he has the history of understanding like with battery life and all the things that he's come to know about the iPhone. And so there's an inherent trust that gets built into that. Right. But there's also a part of me that's like that knowledge stops at a water's edge because he's not in there working on an actual iPhone.
Right.
So he's not the bad version, but I've seen bad versions of these types of influencers and YouTubers, similar to the clips that you were putting in front. Like, you sent it to me and I was like, that's kind of funny. This guy's full of BS. Like, that's the bad version of like somebody who doesn't know. But I gotta be honest with you, most people fall for that shit. So
that's what I was going to say is the audacity, the responsibility, the like you said, the audacity. Like, I just feel like people have to be more responsible. Like, Zoe always listens to like commentaries, like a film commentary or an animation commentary by some 16-year-old. And like, I'll hear her listening to it. I'm listening to this person say like, well, this was what they were doing here. And I'm like, Zoe, who's talking?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, they're just this a YouTuber. I'm like, why do you trust this information?
Right.
And she's like, I don't know. They seem like they know what they're talking about. And she's like, and nowadays she's really changing her tune. Like, cause my kids grew up with me always being like they'd say something ridiculous. I'm like, well, did you hear that on Instagram? And then they'd get mad. Like, Dad, you're always so cynical. And now Zoe said to me the other day, she's like, I think you're right. I think you have to be like, you have to really question everything and then dig.
For sure.
Yeah, you can't just accept it. And it comes down to the audacity of these people putting this stuff up. Like, I feel like I'm being responsible when we record because I'm generally
Anytime I can torpedo anything that we're talking about by just being like, here's what Shawn is saying, but I hate the idea of it. So let me just be contrarian for the sake of it.
But we have experience in this. We have worked in this. We are professionals in this. So we do have a leg to stand on when it comes to talking about this. When we start talking about health stuff, don't listen to us. Here's my attitude. Like, I think this is something my wife has been, and I have been talking about, like
there is a generation of like now young adults who have been taught what to think as opposed to how to think.
Yeah. Critical thinking. That's
and I think that's all you're doing with your kids. And that, I think at its core, that's the spirit of where I'm coming from. It's like, just critically think about something, and not immediately go into this space of like, I know everything because of X. It's almost like I know this much because of X, but I can't possibly know everything. So let me go try. I think there was that same instructor is the one that we're laughing at right now. I think that same instructor understands the other version, which is like, I know what I know because I've taught it this way or I've learned it this way, but doesn't take a step back and go like, is this the right way of teaching it?
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, is this the most effective way of teaching it? And do I sound like a dummy when I'm doing it? So like, there's plenty of times when even through this podcast, potentially even, when we're at a show or something and somebody's like, Eric, I really like the way you draw. Can you teach me your process or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I could, but it wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know how much a difference it would make because you're learning things through the way I'm doing it.
Right.
But I'm not
I've
necessarily.
Always said, my what I've always said as a teacher is like, I can teach you what works for me. Yeah. And you should be getting that from a lot of artists.
Sure.
What works for them. And if you're lucky, you can take a nugget from each person you talk to.
Sure.
That helps you. And those nuggets together make you understand.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because there's no one way. There's no one is totally right in how they do it.
You said it earlier, like you should be this instructor or us, we should be more, how did you phrase it? Like we should be more responsible. We should, whatever it is, And I'm not saying that we're not, right? But I also want to encourage the people who are listening to us to be like, hey, I can be as responsible, but I can also be just as wrong. Do yourself a giant favor and critically think for yourself. Go out there
honestly,
and say,
that's a big reason we have guests on is we're learning and to also show another point of view of doing things.
For sure. Yeah. I would love to have a counter opposing view of where we're coming from in as far as the stuff that we're talking about, especially when it comes to art, especially when it comes to approach to come on and have a level-headed discussion. I'm like, here's what I think you guys are not saying, or you guys aren't saying well. I'd love to be able to hear that. Eric, your camera sucks, And I'd be like, yeah, you're right. That's a short conversation. All right, go ahead.
All right, so no Matteo goodbye today, so I'll just say peace.
See you guys later.
Inkpulp Podcast.